The room was reportedly so quiet that people could hear papers being turned. That image has appeared again and again in royal commentary. A private discussion, serious faces, a future queen carrying documents connected not only to royal duties, but to one of the most powerful legacies in modern British history. And that legacy has a name. Diana. For nearly 3 decades, the memory of Diana, Princess of Wales, has remained unlike anything else in royal history. Governments changed. Headlines came and went. Royal scandals rose and faded. Yet somehow Diana continued to occupy a unique place in public memory. Now many royal observers are asking a new question. Could Princess Catherine become the person who carries that legacy into the future? Today we are diving into discussion surrounding Catherine, Diana's influence, and why so many commentators believe the future of the monarchy may depend on balancing tradition with something much more difficult to achieve: human connection. Accounts from journalists, royal commentators, and longtime observers reveal a fascinating pattern. Whenever Catherine appears at major public engagements, comparisons to Diana eventually emerge, not because they are the same, but because both women seem to understand something many public institutions struggle to maintain. People remember how you make them feel. What many people don't know is that these comparisons did not begin recently. They have existed for years. Whenever Catherine visits hospitals, speaks with families, or focuses attention on mental health initiatives, sections of the public often recall Diana's ability to connect with ordinary people during difficult moments. That connection remains powerful. According to royal analysts, Diana's influence survived because it extended beyond ceremonial duties. She appeared comfortable showing emotion in public settings at a time when royal life often seemed formal and distant. Many historians argue that this changed public expectations forever. Before Diana, people admired the monarchy. After Diana, many expected to relate to it. That difference matters, because it created a challenge that every future generation of royals would eventually face. How do you preserve tradition while also appearing accessible? How do you represent an ancient institution while connecting with modern audiences? Those questions sit at the center of nearly every discussion about Catherine and Prince William today, and they help explain why Diana's name continues appearing in conversations about the future. But there is more to this story. The discussion is not really about comparisons. It is about continuity. Royal observers frequently point out that Catherine has never tried to become another Diana. Instead, many believe she is focused on developing her own style while embracing some of the values that made Diana so admired: compassion, visibility, public service. These themes appear repeatedly throughout Catherine's work. And according to commentators who follow the royal family closely, that may be one reason public interest remains so strong whenever Diana's legacy enters the conversation. Because people are not only looking backward, they are looking forward. They want to know whether the qualities they admired in Diana still have a place within the monarchy today. For many observers, Catherine has become part of that answer. Yet the deeper story is only beginning, because understanding the present requires going back to the past, back to the years when Diana transformed the royal conversation forever. To understand why Diana's legacy remains so influential, we first need to understand the environment she entered. When Diana became a global figure, royal life operated differently. Public appearances were carefully managed. Formal protocol carried enormous importance. Distance often symbolized dignity. Then Diana arrived, and the public response was extraordinary. Accounts from journalists who covered the era described crowds unlike anything they had seen before. People did not simply want photographs. They wanted connection. Diana possessed a rare ability to make interactions feel personal, even in enormous public settings. Many people remember famous images of her meeting hospital patients, speaking with children, and supporting causes that received limited attention at the time. Those moments helped reshape expectations. Suddenly, compassion became a major part of the royal conversation. Many are questioning how much that transformation still influences the monarchy today. The answer, according to numerous historians, is quite a lot. Prince William grew up witnessing both the admiration Diana received and the pressures that accompanied it. That experience matters because William now represents the future direction of the monarchy. Royal commentators often note that William occupies a unique position. He is both Diana's son and a future king. Those identities sometimes appear connected. Other times they appear in tension. One represents emotional openness. The other represents institutional responsibility. For years, analysts debated how those influences would shape William's approach. Then Catherine entered the picture. Over time, she became one of the most recognizable figures in the royal family. Observers frequently praise her patience, consistency, and measured public presence. Unlike periods dominated by controversy, Catherine's public image became associated with stability. That reputation grew steadily, not overnight, over years. What many people don't know is that this gradual growth may have increased public trust more effectively than dramatic headlines ever could. While scandals often generate attention, consistency builds confidence. Royal commentators repeatedly highlight that point, and it helps explain why discussions surrounding Catherine often focus on long-term influence rather than short-term publicity. The pattern became increasingly visible. Mental health initiatives, family-focused engagements, community projects, support for early childhood development. Each effort reinforced a similar message. Service matters, connection matters, presence matters. Many observers began noticing similarities between these priorities and the values frequently associated with Diana. Not identical approaches, shared themes. That distinction is important because Catherine's public role developed within a different era. Social media changed expectations. News cycles accelerated. Public scrutiny intensified. Yet despite those differences, certain values remain surprisingly consistent. Kindness, empathy, visibility. Those ideas continued appearing again and again. And according to royal analysts, that recurring pattern created the foundation for the discussion unfolding today. A discussion about legacy. A discussion about relevance. A discussion about whether emotional connection has become as important as tradition itself. Then came a period when these questions started receiving even greater attention. And that is where the story becomes particularly interesting. On this particular occasion, the challenge facing the monarchy was not ceremonial. It was cultural. Across many countries, public trust in major institutions has faced increasing pressure. Governments, media organizations, public figures, traditional structures, all have experienced growing scrutiny. The monarchy has not been exempt from those trends. Royal commentators frequently note that younger generations often evaluate public figures differently than previous generations. Visibility matters. Authenticity matters. People want to feel that leaders understand everyday concerns. This shift created an important question. How should the monarchy respond? Accounts from journalists and insiders reveal that discussions surrounding modernization have existed for years, not necessarily dramatic debates. More often, ongoing conversations. How can royal service remain meaningful in a changing world? How can public engagement evolve without abandoning tradition? These questions gained greater importance as Catherine and William assumed increasingly prominent roles. Observers noticed something interesting. Whenever the couple focused on causes involving mental health, community support, or family well-being, public reaction was often particularly strong. Many interpreted this as evidence that emotional connection remained one of the monarchy's most valuable strengths. Yet not everyone agreed on the best path forward. Some analysts argued that tradition itself should remain the primary focus. Others believed stronger public engagement was essential. The discussion reflected a broader challenge. Balance. Too much change risks criticism. Too little change creates different concerns. Finding the middle ground is difficult. Royal history offers many examples of that struggle. And according to commentators, Catherine increasingly became a symbol of that balancing act. She represented continuity, but also evolution, tradition, but also accessibility. That combination attracted attention. As public interest grew, comparisons with Diana naturally resurfaced. Some people welcomed them, others cautioned against them. Many historians emphasize that Diana occupied a unique historical moment that cannot truly be repeated. Yet the comparisons continued because they reflected something deeper than personality. They reflected public expectations. People wanted evidence that compassion remained central to royal service. And whenever Catherine emphasized those values, discussions about Diana often followed. The debate became larger than any single individual. It became a conversation about what the monarchy should represent moving forward. Should it remain primarily ceremonial? Should it become more emotionally engaged? Could it successfully do both? These questions fueled countless articles, interviews, and discussions. But beneath all the commentary stood a simple reality. The public response to compassionate leadership remained remarkably strong. And that fact would shape the next chapter of the story. The complete picture may be less dramatic than rumors sometimes suggest, but it is arguably more important. The story is not really about secret meetings. It is not about palace intrigue. And it is not about replacing one royal figure with another. It is about legacy. Accounts from royal historians reveal that Diana's greatest influence may not have been any single event. It may have been changing expectations. She demonstrated that compassion could become a defining public strength. That lesson continues to echo throughout discussions about the monarchy today. Many observers believe Catherine understands this, not because she is trying to recreate the past, because she is preparing for the future. Throughout her public work, themes associated with empathy, family support, mental health awareness, and community engagement have remained visible. Those priorities align closely with what many people now expect from modern public leadership. Public reaction reflects this reality. Whenever discussions emerge about Catherine's future role, commentators frequently describe trust, stability, and relatability as major factors behind her popularity. These qualities matter, especially during periods of uncertainty. The aftermath of years of royal controversy has left many people searching for reassuring figures. For some observers, Catherine has increasingly become one of those figures. That does not mean every challenge disappears. Far from it. The monarchy still faces difficult questions about relevance, modernization, and public expectations. Those debates will continue. But many analysts believe the institution possesses an important opportunity to combine tradition with compassion, to preserve continuity while embracing connection, to remain historic without becoming distant. In many ways, that possibility represents the lasting significance of Diana's legacy, not as a memory trapped in the past, as an influence that continues shaping conversations about the future. And perhaps that explains why her name still resonates so strongly. Legacy survives when its values remain useful. Compassion remains useful. Empathy remains useful. Service remains useful. These stories provide insight into how institutions evolve, how public expectations change, and how individual figures can leave an influence that extends far beyond their own time. Whether future historians ultimately view Catherine as the person who carried part of that legacy forward remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The conversation surrounding Diana's influence did not end with history. It continues today. And for many people watching the royal family, that conversation may help shape the monarchy's next chapter.